Good evening, wrestling fans. Welcome back to Evolution of Pro Wrestling. We're here with an exclusive interview that is about to happen. The other day we had Eddie Torres, the Authority, on our show as a guest with the topic that we had of the best independent promotions. Tonight, we're actually going to talk to the man himself and ask him about his career and pretty much everything that's gone on in and outside the ring. It's going to be a pleasure to hear what he has to say. We're going to welcome him into the show right now. Okay, we're gonna welcome him in. As soon as he gets in, we're going to discuss some stuff with him, and we're pretty anxious to hear what he has to say. This man, I've heard he has been all over Florida. He has done a lot of things in this company, in this wrestling industry. So we're very anxious to hear. So we're going to welcome in the Authority, Eddie Torres. We're plugging him in right now as we speak, and I can't wait for this interview. And here he is, Eddie Torres, the Authority. Sir, welcome back to the show. It's a pleasure to have you.
It's a pleasure to be back on the show, Louis. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Excellent night. Free of everything. We saw you on our show. You were a guest on our show. We heard about the independent promotions and stuff like that. We want to hear about Eddie Torres. We want to hear what he's about, the Authority himself. Tell the fans everything about your career, inside and out, and what is this character of the Authority himself?
The Authority, that's always been up to debate. Basically, I came up with the idea, the Authority, because of my time in the business. I'm going on my 18th year in October, being part of the independent wrestling, scene since 2001, and it's been as we'll talk, highlighted, but it's been a very interesting path, a road that I've taken, ups and downs, like anything in life. But the Authority was something more of a statement. It was for me to kind of put it out there that when it came to Florida, I was secured, not egotistical about it, secured enough to say that I was I guess you could say, the benchmark of the wrestling scene down here, because there hasn't been a guy or a talent that I have not seen or faced. And I'm not one guy to name drop people, but I've faced a lot of people over the years, and gotten some of the most, probably the most amazing matches I could possibly ask for. So I try to live up to a standard and try to put faith in the fact that I am secured in who I am as a professional wrestler. Ability-wise, experience-wise, longevity. So that being said, I thought it was important to go ahead and just put it out there, I guess, and say, hey, I'm the Authority. It kind of puts a target on my back, but it works out.
But that's a good thing. You're actually making a mark in professional wrestling. You're making a mark in the indie promotions. Which is pretty much what you need to do. 18 years in the business. That's a very big accomplishment. Not too many people can say that they've stepped in the ring with the best. There's how the Florida indie scene is. There's guys in Miami, Boca Raton, Cocoa, Florida, Orlando. The list goes on and on. I've seen the matches that you've had. I've seen a certain individual that you're gonna face. I believe it's Romeo. That he's another powerhouse, which I would definitely pay to see that match. When you step into that ring, how does that persona change? Because I see Eddie here, I see he's calm and cool, but I can imagine the moment you get in that ring, it's like the movie Over the Top. I know you remember Over the Top with Sylvester
Stallone. Perfect. Go ahead. I'll let you go ahead.
You know what I mean?
That's
as soon as he's calm, he goes in, he has his hat on, the moment that hat turns on over,
Yeah.
totally different person. Is
Yeah.
that something you would consider yourself or what you do in the ring?
That's that's my go-to analogy when it comes to anything I do in the ring. You know, in my life, I'm a father, I'm a provider. You know what I mean? I'm a family man. But every time someone asks me, "How do you turn it on? How does it click on?" I always use the same Stallone reference. It's over the top, man. I take that hat, I turn it backwards, I'm done. You know what I mean? I'm in it, and that's it's a little bit more like that. Like some people get. I remember a time when I started. I was very like any young guy. You're very nervous. You're very cautious. You want to be good. You want to be on point. You want to have because it's the way I'd see it is every match. It could be your last match, but almost every match could be your the start of something amazing. Another road, another fist. For me, the turn on the authority is to basically I get anxious and I get at the same time I get anxious I get in the same time so riled up that I just kind of like you said, I put a whole new face on. You know what I mean? Everything about me. Like I could be something that, obviously normally you cannot be in society. You can't be in the street and start knocking out people and doing roundhouse kicks and power bomb people, and um, wrestling has provided um, the ability to be something I believe beyond yourself with no restraints, with no chains, and nothing holding you back. You can either go out there for that 10, 15 minutes that you're out there, you're free to do whatever you need to do and be whoever you want to be.
No, that's definitely a way to put it. Like you mentioned it. I know it takes a lot to prepare for once you're getting in that ring. Okay, what's gonna happen next? Am I gonna get hurt? Is this guy gonna be able to, go to distance with me? Is he fully trained to compete in the ring?
Hmm.
What's next? That's all going through your mind.
Hmm.
Now, what obstacles did you go through to become a professional wrestler? Like, the training, lifting weights, jogging, eating, because I know it takes fitness to get in the ring, with the
Yeah.
bumps you guys take. Tell us about that.
Well, I mean, the good thing about me getting into the professional wrestling business was I already was I was in sports already. I was playing baseball heavy. I did amateur wrestling. I did martial arts. I did a couple of things. I did a lot of throughout my whole life as a kid. When I had the opportunity to become a wrestler, I will tell you this, and a lot of people say, "Oh, it's hard and it's grueling." It was. I would never I would never take away the fact that my going where I went to, which was Steve Kern's School of Hard Knocks, um, was was amazing because Kern and Del Rey will train you to death because they wanted the best and they wanted nothing but the best because obviously their names are attached to you. And they represent your skill level and your training is represented by what they could teach you. Um, but I kind of came into it physically able to bump because I have a judo background, so it's kind of similar to kind of take the same bumps. The way you fall is very similar to it. So that was accustomed to me. As far as training goes, man, I was raising a new kid at the time. My son was brand new born in the world. I was working 10-hour days up and down in the heat in Florida. That was cardio. but but I tell people like, how do you do it? I remember having been in having a child and being a full-time dad, full-time worker, and trying to be a professional wrestler. It wasn't easy, but I'm determined. So it was getting a routine. If you get into a routine physically, if you get into a routine mentally, you could do anything you want to do. You could be a wrestler. It just depends on what you're at. And I'm not someone to take away people's abilities to become a professional wrestler, but you have to have, like you said, mental toughness. You have to have a certain set of I'm gonna use a taken line. A specific set of skills. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That will help you become a professional. And all I wanted to do was become a professional wrestler. I didn't want to be and I'm not against sports entertainer and all that good stuff that people like to decorate. I wanted to become a professional wrestler, and because I come from the '80s, '90s era, growing up. But I'm also come from an ECW era, which that's what made me want to be a wrestler. ECW was what I wanted to become. But physically, it's demanding. But if you're hungry enough for it and you're capable of achieving the physical and mental part of it, you could become a wrestler. It's not hard. I mean, it depends on you and your body type and who you are as a person.
Oh, that's wonderful, man. I know there's a lot of people listening to that want to become a professional wrestler, want to get into the business. Some people have that doubt. Okay, am I going to take this bump? Am I going to get hurt? And sometimes you got to take chances. When it comes to professional wrestling, because I've seen many people get injured in wrestling. I've seen the way they fall, and sometimes it could end it, sometimes it don't. But it's remember how they say it doesn't matter how hard you get hit. It's you keep getting hit and come back up. And not too
Yeah.
many people know that in professional wrestling. Now, you mentioned to me the last time that your dream match of all time would I believe it was Mr. Perfect, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
yeah, Mr. You're right. You're right.
Now, who would be your dream match in the independent promotions?
Now,
Yeah.
ooh, oh man, there's. I wish I could give you an answer. There's so many guys that I would honestly like to work. Um, it's just one of those situations of being at the right place, the right time, having access to the matches. Um, but there are so many guys, man, that I see that I feel like okay, we could have a good match. We could do something. You know what I mean? We could make something happen. Um, I can't. I feel like if I say one, I feel like if
No,
I say
no,
one
that's
name, yeah, I feel like if I say one name is gonna lead to like, oh man, I'm gonna say like 17 names.
no, that's fine. No, I
Yeah,
completely understand. It's hard to
yeah,
choose because there's a lot of good
yeah,
talent in these promotions, especially here in
yeah.
Florida. What was your best match, in your opinion, since you've been in professional wrestling?
Man, that's a good question. I'm gonna say I'm gonna. Man, you're giving me. It's hard. You know what? It's like I'm. That's why like every time I do interviews, people ask me specific questions, and in my mind, like a wrestler, I started dissecting. Oh well, this guy was good. That guy. Now you're making me think about it. I be honest with you. Um, my best match for me, just for me, not for the fans' perspective, not for the boys. I'm gonna put it over, and he's if he does listen to this, it's all good. I don't know if you heard his name before, but if you don't, you should. It was Bruce Santee. His name was Bruce Santee, a mainstay in this Florida scene for years. He was one of my top opponents for a long time around the 2005 to 2010 era. Um, he was a legit big man in the big man time. Um, he still does shows once in the blue moon, but he's kind of about the business a little bit. But again, he was a mentor to me also. And I sit at 5'10", 5'10", 5'11". I'm in between that, you know. He's legit 6'4", 6'5", you know. He's a powerhouse. Again, Bruce Santee, the marquee. If you look him up, you see what I'm talking about.
Yep. No, I
Um,
know exactly who you're talking
oh,
about.
okay, oh, okay.
I seen him.
Yeah,
I
he's
seen him a couple weeks ago. Absolutely, I know who he
oh
is.
yeah, yeah. And there was a time period, man, where I wasn't sure where I was going. I was doing well. I was getting good name value. I was working some good guys. Again, this was around YouTube just started, you know, getting popular. It wasn't a lot of social media buzz at the time, so you really had to kind of go by word of mouth and association, kind of play the politics. But I was always a guy to work my ass off. I'm sorry if I could say ass, but ass off to kind of work out. Yeah, all right. Well, I'm just making sure and work my ass off and be a workhorse. That's it. And when I had the opportunity to have a feud with him, I really believe. I thought, you know, when you do things in sports, you're like, okay, I'm at this level, I'm good, and then you work at somebody, or you do something that puts you in a whole different stratosphere. Like, okay, well, I could do better. There's more within me, and I used to get, and I say this with respect, my ass whooped by him. It's like so many times, but it was kind of like the Rocky story. Keep taking, and you keep getting up, keep getting up, keep getting. Like you said, you keep getting knocked down, you keep getting up, you know. And it was one of those things where I worked with him, and not only did he improve me as a professional, but he also improved me um, mentally. You know what I mean? Because it showed me that there was more within my skill levels that I wasn't aware of, and that helped me keep. I have that same mentality to this day, where if I wrestle young guys today, I don't wear flashy gear. I'm not the loudest person around, but when I'm in there in my Facebook, I say what I have to say. I do what I have to do to have a great match. And I expect that no different than the next guy I wrestle, just like I expect them to expect that from me. We two guys in that ring make magic happen. It's not me, it's not him, it's us. You know what I mean? That's it. So again, my hat has to go off to Bruce Santee because he's the one probably my best, my greatest match.
That's good. No, I've
Yeah,
seen him in action a few weeks ago. The man is phenomenal. He's tall, he's strong, a good athlete. So good choice. I
yeah,
respect that. Me
yeah. I appreciate
personally, since I've been watching the indie scenes here,
it. Mhm.
I would like to see you have a match with Jesse Neal. I
Oh
don't know if the
man,
match has ever happened, but
it's happened. It's happened.
I
It's
haven't
happened.
seen it. But I would pay to see that match happen.
Ooh.
You two icons in this business. I would wait. I would pay to see the fight.
Well, me and Jesse just we wrestled each other recently at DCCW. Uh, we are actually headlined to wrestle again at DCCW, the same place. Triple threat is me versus him versus Tony Storm or the Storm. But one on one, I'm sure that could happen soon. I'm sure we can make that happen. I'm sure if you put it out there, it'll make it happen.
Oh, absolutely. I definitely pay to see that, man.
Yes, sir.
So,
Appreciate that.
uh,
Appreciate that.
no, anytime. And another question we mentioned before about NXT and AEW.
Yeah.
Say you get that call right now. They say, Eddie, we want to sign you to NXT or AEW. Would you take that opportunity, and why?
Well, I mean, I think everybody's goal is to be a professionally contracted wrestler. You know what I mean? And I think there's a loose line between professional wrestler and a contracted wrestler, because I'm going to put it out there. There's plenty of contracted wrestlers that are not professional. They're not. They're used for different reasons than just wrestling ability. It could be a gimmick, it could be a showmanship, it could be whatever it needs to do. As far as like NXT and AEW goes, NXT is obviously the double A to the big leagues. You know what I mean? It's in the same world. AEW has an indie feel to it. Um, Putting aside my personal views on some of their things that they do that I may not agree with, um, obviously being signed by either one of them would be, you know, a kind of like a like a check mark on my bucket list. You know what I mean? To say, okay, well, hey, I was contracted with a promotion that level, and be able to do something with them. But in the same note, um, knowing the reason to go in there is also to kind of get your name out there, to be a household name, to be something and that's spread around the indie world. And that's what's biggest thing now is to get um, your name out there. So I mean, as far as I think it goes, I mean, AEW, NXT would be, I would believe, no matter what, anyone would take that opportunity to work for either one of the companies. My only thing would be is how will they use me? You know what I mean? What
With
path would I go? That's the way I look at it.
oh, it's that I couldn't have said it better
Yeah,
myself. That's when you go to the big time, you expect to do big things, but as
yeah,
you've seen in WWE, a lot of talent has not been used the right way. That actually should be used the right way.
mm,
So if that ever happens, I wish you luck, and you'll just knock them dead and just take over, man. And I have one more question. You don't have to answer it because I know it's a little, excuse me, it's a bit uncomfortable for some, but
okay.
what was something in the indie promotions you did not like?
Oh, that's not an uncomfortable. I'm probably the only person that's gonna tell you that's not uncomfortable for me. I don't know if you pay attention to my post, but I'm the captain of bitter post. I I my issue with independent promotions is, man. Okay, I'll try to keep it down to probably one or two of them. I is it's just consistency. Like consistency in their product. I feel like if you live in a certain area, let's say you're in Orlando, right? And there's like 5 or 6 promotions in Orlando. Maybe give your fan base a reason to come see your show by utilizing not the same talent. You know what I mean? Bring different people. Like, for instance, if you see Jesse Neal at one show and you see me at another, but then we keep working that one show, how does that separate you from that show? Just letters. You know what I mean? Like, letters only change you because then you kind of giving the fans no exclusivity to your product. You know what I mean? Like, I would rather see me, like, if me and Jesse are going to work someplace, I wouldn't work against Jesse two other shows in the same town. I wouldn't do it. And I'm gonna be in charge of the promotion. But if I'm a booker and I'm running a show, I wouldn't want to use the same talent no, not saying that it's bad thing, but my competitors using. You know what I mean? Because every promotion, and no matter if we're all working together, we're competitors. We're all a business to kind of bring our fan base into the show. That's one issue. I got time for two.
Sure,
All right,
sure.
all right. Two would be uh, just proper promoting. You know what I mean? I feel like promoters and promotions have gotten so relaxed on social media plugs of shows rather than go out there and get the fans interested, get them in the doors, market, promote. You know what I mean? I think promotions are so content with like getting 25, 30 people in the house, where I would like to see, if I was running a show, hundreds. And I've been part of indie shows and many times that have drew hundreds to thousands. You know what I mean? Independent shows. It's possible. What I feel this the issue is again, add to my first question, my first issue, over corroded of talent. You know what I mean? If you're gonna bring in like I said, not oversaturating his name, Jesse Neal in Orlando, which he used to wrestle for TNA, and so he has a rapport with that. How are you supposed to draw him over to you if you don't promote him right? If you don't go out there and get the people interested into what? And again, everybody just relies on Facebook and Twitter and I said MySpace and Instagram. Um, no, play both sides of the fence. Bring some exclusive talent to your thing. Bring some people from North Florida, South Florida, or take some chances with some new talent. Some guys that deserve opportunities. Some really good workers out there that are out there that don't get the shots because, again, it's become really who you know rather than who's worth using. And again,
That's
I'm yeah, that's really
no,
good.
no,
I'm leaving it at two times, two of them. I'm just leaving it at two.
no, that's well said. You know what I mean? That's in the industry. You know, some people, some promoters, as you mentioned, do use people just for their name. You know, former WWE superstar or
Mhm.
WCW, ECW. No, it's like you said, the indie promotions is what's happening right now. You know, I'm a huge fan of WWE. I'm a
Yeah.
huge fan of wrestling, but since I've been here in Florida, I've that's all I've done is talk about nothing but indie promotions. I've supported indie promotions.
Mhm.
I've had many talent on the show. Jesse Neal, I've had him on the show. So I completely understand what you're talking about. And I hope someday to see you compete in person
Mhm.
and just want to see that demeanor come out of you. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, I hear you. Turn that hat around. I
um,
turn that hat around.
no, absolutely, absolutely. And we appreciate you being on the show, sir. You've been very professional.
Appreciate it.
Um, as always, Evolution of Pro Wrestling always supports the indie promotions, the indie scene all over the world. We appreciate you being on the show. We wish you the best of luck in your career. And again, thank you.
Thank you, Louis, man. I appreciate it, man. You have a good one.
You as well, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Peace out.
And there you have it, folks. The Authority. Eddie Torres on the show. Excellent talent, excellent force to reckon with. This we'll leave that for a surprise. As always, thank you for the support, fans at Evolution of Pro Wrestling. As always, we support the indie promotions. We support professional wrestling, period. This Friday, as always, 8 o'clock sharp, our show is going to be the greatest high flyers of all time. We're going to be talking about the world of wrestling, as always, and we are definitely going to be promoting the
this Thursday, I believe, the Atomic Revolutionary Wrestling. We're probably going to have Alex Red on the show promoting V for Victory. So we got a lot going on this week. You're not going to want to miss it. And we just mentioned IPW Hardcore Wrestling. We get over tomorrow night, fans. He's going to be there. Eddie, the Authority, Taurus. Do not miss that event. From all of us here, thank you for the support. As always, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Any questions, concerns, or topics that you have for us, email us at evolutionofprowrestling@gmail.com. Thank you, fans, and have a wonderful night.